If you are synthesizing an API, eventually you come to the point where it needs to be purified. And if you're coming from medicinal chemistry, a compound is usually purified by chromatography, because every laboratory has a chromatography unit. And this is the first thing you try out if you want to clean your compound. And in the early clinical stages, when you're trying to get larger quantities, you would normally not invest a lot into alternatives. So chromatography here is a very useful method because it's easily upscalable. It usually provides good purities, good yields. But once you get to larger quantities, and especially once you want to produce it commercially, it starts getting very expensive, because the larger the quantity is, the larger the chromatography units you need to buy. And whereas you might have a very small unit in your laboratory for development purposes, it's a totally different thing to buy a very big one for purifying your commercial API. And so Carbogen-EMSys here works with a dual model. We do provide this preparative chromatography if it is required and the method of choice, but we also offer our customers development of a crystallization process. And crystallization is usually, when it comes to larger quantities, the cheaper alternative. The only problem is you need to find the method, so you need to invest in development of such a method in the first place, and sometimes it just doesn't work out, and then you're stuck to chromatography. At Carbogen-EMSys, we have a dedicated laboratory for crystallization development, where we perform those characterizations of the compound, where we perform solvent and crystallization screenings, and eventually have a very talented laboratory head who is usually able to find a crystallization process that is then very able to replace an expensive chromatography and provide a very pure product at a very good yield at much lower cost per quantity than you would have it using a chromatography process.